Israel has launched attacks on Lebanon and Syria, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited IDF soldiers and their injured comrades.
Ukrainian soldiers stand guard on the banks of the Dnipro River, ready for Russian attacks, as President Putin meets military officials in Rostov-on-Don.
Israel has launched new attacks on targets in Lebanon and Syria. Hezbollah said 7 of its fighters were killed in Lebanon. The Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, claimed it hit a Syria-based organization it said was behind a drone attack on a school in Eilat on Thursday. An IDF spokesman said it was operating in any area that threatened Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited IDF forces, including an artillery base, and also met injured soldiers at a medical centre in Ashkelon, telling them their friends were hitting Hamas hard. Hamas says the death toll, mainly Palestinian civilians, has surpassed 11,000 in Gaza. In the Saudi capital Riyadh, Syria's president arrived ahead of an emergency summit of the Arab League. It has called for a complete ceasefire in Gaza.
Ukrainian soldiers standing ground, poised for Russian attacks. They've taken their positions on the banks of the Dnipro River. Defending troops liberated the southern city of Kherson last year, but Moscow still controls swaths of territory across the bank. And this unit are keeping watch in case Russian forces strike.
Фосфор, флешата, прості снаряди, кумулятивні, є ті самі, осколочництво само по собі. Хаотичне стрілянина йде, у них немає для такого, як то сказати, чересчур времени не завжди, для того, щоб настроїтись. Вони автоматично просто в сектор закидають.
A few kilometres southwest, Russian President Vladimir Putin made an unannounced visit to military headquarters in Rostov-on-Don. Meanwhile, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has reaffirmed that Russia needs to achieve its goals in its military operation. This as Moscow says it has recently launched 11 group strikes with precision weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles against Ukrainian military infrastructure.
French President Emmanuel Macron arrives at the 6th annual Paris Peace Forum. Here he warned melting glaciers were an unprecedented challenge for humanity, saying united effort is needed in the fight against climate change, even though wars are taking away much of the international focus.
Tout est lié. Et qu'aujourd'hui, on a des pays très vulnérables qui, si on ne les aide pas par la solidarité internationale, seront entraînés par le conflit qui est en cours.
Si nous voulons être crédibles, on doit être crédibles sur 2 sujets. La solidarité financière, comment mobilise-t-on plus de puissance de feu financière, et comment veille-t-on à ce que l'on ne soit pas confronté à un monde où quelques-uns décident pour les autres.
Also speaking at the event was UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres with a pre-recorded message calling for a move from a world of rivalry and finding common ground.
Finland bears farewell to ex-president Martti Ahtisaari at the Helsinki Cathedral. The former UN diplomat and seasoned academic, who served as the head of state from 1994 to 2000, died on Monday, aged 86. Ahtisaari is credited for overseeing the 2005 peace talks that ended 3 decades of deadly clashes between Indonesia's government and the Free Athos separatist movement, and for helping Kosovo on its path to independence. His formidable career, spanning more than 40 years, earned him a Nobel Peace Prize in 2008.
Australia's offered people from the island nation of Tuvalu a lifeline to help them escape the rising sea levels that threaten their homes because of climate change. According to NASA, much of Tuvalu's land and critical infrastructure will be underwater by 2050. The deal with the Australian government will allow up to 280 Tuvaluans to move to the country every year. It will also help Tuvalu fund its coastal adaptation project, aiming to expand land around the capital and main island by about 6%.